Ancient Bromfield was first mentioned in the Domesday Book of 1086. It is situated on the confluence of the rivers Teme and Onny, and historically most of the properties here have been owned by the Earl of Plymouth, who lives at Oakley Park nearby. But join Third Rate Content today as we peel back the layers upon layers of history, as we go searching for dragon legends and a pre-historical necropolis. So welcome back to Third Rate Content. Today we're out in South Shropshire once again. We're just a couple of miles north of Ludlow in deepest South Shropshire. We're in Bromfield area once again, and today we are looking for an ancient necropolis or ancient burial ground that dates, so they say, from the Bronze Age to the early Iron Age. And there was, at one point, they say 20 barrows or tumuluses, burial mounds, however you want to call them, in this vicinity. Now, there is 3 that are particularly visible, but they say there's 5 in the area still remaining. So we're going to go and see if we can find this ancient necropolis stroke burial ground. So buckle up and I'll see you out here. The pool here and the quarry is directly over where the Roman camp would have been. So it just shows you the Romans were here and people in prehistory were here. So this area of South Shropshire was in business in prehistory and pre-Christianity in the Roman times. Well, of course, they did turn to Christianity eventually, but you know what I'm saying, I hope. And the settlement here would have been a Roman forward marching camp. These were used early in the conquest when the Romans were establishing control over these sectors or attempting to establish control. And of course, it would have been the Cornoville tribe they were coming up against in this region. And there were said to have been battles that took place around here. But remember what we said about, I don't know if you do, but hedgerow witches, they always knew the snickets in and out of the said hedgerows, and that would be one of the snickets. Of course, we're bordered on both sides of the road by massive hedgerows. There was actually a railway station here up until the 1950s. I think it was 1958, before the Beeching report. But we are on Ludlow Racecourse at the moment, and we're going to be going on the golf course as well. So all sports happening at once here. I'm just looking for the public footpath that goes left, and leads us to the first tumuli of today. There has been a racecourse here at Bromfield, Ludlow, since 1850. So right behind me is the first of our 3 tumuli that we're going to be investigating today. It's quite big, but it's absolutely submerged in the undergrowth. It might have been a better time of year to come in winter, but then again, the weather might have been rubbish. So here we are, and you can actually make out its hill appearance and all the trees on top of it. A bit like maybe Cumdillan's burial mound that we visited in 2023, but this one is supposed to be far, far older. In fact, the three tumuluses, or burial mounds, however you want to call them, that we're going to visit today, all date from the Bronze Age to the early Iron Age. This one is known as Robin Hood's Butts barrow. I don't think, obviously, with its age, it had anything to do with Robin Hood, but maybe there were archery butts here at some point, perhaps in the medieval days, most probably, and the name is associated with that. You've got this pretty mighty tree on the very summit of this tumulus. And that we're on top of now is 12 feet high and over 90 feet in diameter from edge to edge. But the thing is about these, they're usually multi burials in here. There isn't just one, but there has been the cremated ashes of a boy found quite a few feet down here when it was excavated in the 1800s. And you can see somewhat the sort of base of it from this sort of elevated angle. The urn that was found here, the funerary urn, is now available to view at Birmingham Museum. There is actually quite a spooky feeling around these places of burial. You know, it's a bit like when we visited the semi-abandoned graveyard, Victorian graveyard in Ludlow last year, 2023. If you haven't seen the video, I'll leave a link to it in the description box. But this is far, far older and more mysterious. Anyway, let's move on to the next tumulus. Flat here, not surprisingly, on the race course stroke golf course, but we're just making our way to the second of the three tumuluses of today, so let's see if we can find it. Yeah, I'm thinking the next tumuli or barrow is just around here. Let's see if I'm right. St Lawrence's Church, Ludlow. We went to the top of that in 2023. If you haven't seen the video, I'll leave a link to the Ludlow video in the description box. There is a dragon legend attached to Bromfield. The legend was retold by William Henderson in the folklore of the northern counties of England and the borders. Henderson refers readers to the 14th century historian Thomas of Walsingham. He wrote, in the year 1344, a certain Saracen physician came to Earl Warren to ask permission to kill a serpent or dragon which had its den at Bromfield and was committing great ravages in the Earl's lands on the borders of Wales. The Earl consented, and the dragon was overcome by the incantations of the Arab, but certain words which he had dropped led to the belief that a large treasure lay hidden in the dragon's den. Some men of Herefordshire, hearing of this, went by night to dig for the gold, and they had just reached it when the retainers of Earl Warren, having discovered what was going on, fell suddenly upon them and threw them into prison. The treasure which the Earl took possession of was very great. William Henderson once again commented in his book, The Folklore of the Northern Counties of England, there are dragon legends that exist on the borders of England and Wales, and that These tales are sometimes enshrined in ballads, sometimes bound up with the tenure of property, sometimes sculpted as part of church decorations, but all live yet on the lips of the people. The course, we cannot presume to guess how long they will maintain their ground against the combined forces of railways and collieries, dragons of their own. But of course, these dragons of the age of coal have had their day and now lie entombed below Bromfield Church. No longer with a heart of fire, they are now dormant in a crypt that was their nest when they did not sleep, but now they are sleeping forevermore and entombed in a legendary sleep. And I think this is one of the 3 barrows. But with 20 have been in this area in the past, this necropolis must have been in use for countless generations. But with so much of the history of this place being obliterated, the layers of history that we can peel back, we're only just seeing fragments of the past. And I think that's almost what's the attraction of places like this, is what we can do, speculate and remember that the ancient past is probably so much different to how we view things with our consciousness of the 21st century, maybe. But anyone who's ever seen or read A Warning to the Curious by M.R. James would probably know it's not prudent to be over curious about these sites. Of course, we're surrounded by foxgloves here. This is a fairy castle, isn't it? Walk right into a fairy keep or fairy castle. You know, a Tumulus burial mound. Yeah, it probably would have been better to visit this in winter. You cannot really make out the burial mound or tumuli here, but it is definitely here, and it almost fell down about a 3-foot drop, but luckily I'm usually good at falling over. Yeah, major divots in here. Be really careful if you ever do come. I don't think you're supposed to go mauling about the inside of it like this, but you know, there, that's the summit, I think. If you've ever watched A Field in England, I don't know if you have, it's quite a cult film, or any other sort of fairy film, Labyrinth or something, time can go backwards or stop moving in a fairy enclosure, and we are in one now. So I come out of here and it's either 500 years ago, time stopped moving, or nothing happened. Anything could happen. And that's the beauty of third-rate content. So thank you for joining us today on our third-rate visit and explore of mysterious Bromfield in Shropshire. It's been really fun and interesting. I'm so glad we visited this necropolis and its legends. If you did enjoy the video today, why don't you leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, but thank you if you have, and hit the notification bell if you want to stay updated on all third-rate content goings on. So anyway, it's goodbye from me, and goodbye from the Foxglove Fairies, which actually sounds like a band that should be supporting Steve Hillage or Gong in the 1970s. Anyway, if I don't see you soon, I'll see you 3 times as soon. Third-rate content signing out. Bye bye.